Okay, so this is from ChatGPT Osborne, who runs the channel Lisa Cairns video clips, which is beautiful. He edits the talks into small chunks. He has put it into ChatGPT, which is amazing, to ask non-duality questions, and there's still some more left over from last week, I think, so we can go for that. ChatGPT is asking a question. I have to check my microphones are on. How does the concept of infinite love relate to the exploration of self in the context of spirituality and Maya? Far out, these questions. I actually did it for a title the other day. Yeah, and it's amazing, far out. How does the concept of infinite love relate to the exploration of self in the context of spirituality and Maya? So infinite love to me is unconditioned love, unbounded love. So that's has to be when there is the grace that switches the energy from being a subjective person experiencing reality to there being no subject experiencing reality. And then this is infinite love, undivided love. And that comes from this grace where there's a switch. Prior to that switch, there's often the practice of putting the attention in the I am and becoming aware of the habits and conditions of the body, and that they won't bring you freedom. So the habits and conditions, and then the seeking, which believes resolving them, fulfilling them, will bring freedom. So those two things happen, and then at some point a grace takes over, and nobody's experiencing anymore. There is nothing which is experiencing this, which is not intellectual, it's not conceptual, it's experiential. And so there doesn't feel like there's a subject here that's experiencing life. There is simply life happening. And that to me is infinite love. So life equals love, consciousness equals love, I amness equals love. And it's not bound to one thing, it's in all things. Such a beautiful question. In the realms of non-duality and awareness, can you share insights and navigate the illusion of Maya and realizing the unconditioned love that transcends the concept of self and other? Insights on navigating the illusion of Maya and realizing the unconditioned love that transcends the concept of self and other. So, the you that feels like it's in here experiencing life wants navigation. That's okay. That's totally okay for the person to want navigation and to practice. The illusion is that you are practicing. So in a way you could say it's a description of events happening. And it doesn't mean that by practicing you're seeking as such. There'll be moments of seeking and then moments of not. And it doesn't mean that that exacerbates seeking and will make the illusion stronger. My recommendation would be to continuously move the attention to the I am. So moving the attention to I am. And then the other one is to see the illusion of the habits and conditions. So when you move the attention to the I am, you become very aware of the habits and conditions and the seeking patterns that are playing out. So the illusions of you. And then in becoming aware of them, they lose their momentum. And then the other recommendation, if you feel like the personality is really in lots of suffering, then there's so many different therapy techniques out there to help with that. Body work, psychological work, like all different types. So you can go investigate that. That's on my reference page on my website. There's also a lot more out there. They're just the ones I know of. But my two personal ones for non-duality is that, but just knowing that that's not going to arrive you at freedom, because there is no you that becomes free. There is a letting go of the story of you, which in the end is by grace, not by you, and a movement back to who you truly are and what's truly experiencing, which is no thing appearing as everything. Go back to ChatGPT. For those new to the concept of non-duality, could you suggest practical steps or exercises to help them understand and experience it more deeply? Yeah, well, I did that in the last question, so I just would reiterate that there isn't a you that's going to understand it more deeply. Who is that you that you believe will understand it more deeply? ChatGPT, you don't fully understand non-duality, even though you have the information from the whole of the internet. So who is that centralized I that's going to understand it more deeply? What happens is, from listening to this, the habits and the conditions in the body will change. The ideas and beliefs will change. So therefore there'll be different thoughts and ideas appearing about life, which, if you're not doing this as a way to self-destruct, in a negative way, using non-duality in a negative way to spiritually bypass, etc., then more than likely it will all become more and more simple, the habits and the conditions of you. Because there will be attention on them and understanding what you're doing. So you'll no longer be going into a room trying to compete to be the best person in the room and feeling weeks and weeks of shame because you did something wrong and you weren't the best person or something like that. You'll understand the dynamics, why they're appearing. And there'll be consciousness about them, so they will begin to dissipate and lose energy. And then at some point, through them losing energy, the I, which is claiming those habits and conditions to be an entity which exists and resides in the body, will dissipate. And that's by grace. That's not by somebody's effort. Somebody cannot implode themselves. What the somebody can seemingly do, even though it's not really the somebody, is put the awareness on the habits and conditions and the seeking patterns and moving the attention back to the I am. And again, if you're not spiritually bypassing it and using and really doing it in a healthy manner, then the seeking will reduce. And then there will be a shift, but it's nobody's shift. Nobody's shift. Thank you. How can one navigate the challenges that may arise during the process of waking up to non-duality, especially when faced with daily life stresses? It's interesting that even ChatGPT wants to keep coming back to making the life better for the person. I think if you're experiencing a lot of life stresses, you have to, contemplate, what is it that you truly want? When you're not really sure about that, and when you're not really sure about who you are, then often you're doing excessive daily activities to fulfill the seeking self. So then, the person is becoming more and more stressed, because it's kind of like in a rat race. It's like a hamster going around in the wheel, never really getting to the end of it. So you have to go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, so what is it that I really want? What is it that this character is really desiring? And ultimately, what you really desire is freedom. And when that's seen, then it will affect your choices in your day-to-day situation. So then spending 2 hours browsing YouTube and flicking through Instagram on those videos might stop. And 2 hours of doing that, as well as working a full day, that's not relaxation, that's work. So 2 hours doing that is actually stressing out your body, most probably, if you're also working on top of that. It's not relaxation. The body needs a certain amount of relaxation. So it's becoming clear, what is it that I want in life? And when it's really seen, then you're more and more, there'll be a dedication to looking at the present moment and what's appearing now. And you want to become so aware of what's appearing in the body, connecting the feelings and the thoughts, seeing why you're doing something, putting the attention back to the I am, what's propelling you out of the I am and moving you in time. And all of this settles down the character as long as it's done in the correct way. When I say the correct way, I mean not as like a self-sabotage. It's done as a healthy way. I know that's hard to decipher, but I can't teach everything. As long as it's done in a healthy way, then your life will become less stressful. You won't be wasting your energy on things that are burning you out. You'll become focused about what is important. Not being aware means that you're just being like dragged around by life, like blown from this thing to the next thing. They're not being really perceptive about what's happening. And it's about presence, but it's nobody's presence. And this is where the teaching gets all confused, because then somebody's like thinking, I've got to do this. What a responsibility. But the doing happens. And it can feel like somebody's effort until it doesn't. It can sometimes feel like someone's effort and sometimes not. And then at some point, it will just be a happening.